One of the most confusing things about modern Outrun ports is how they continue to alter the look of the Testarossa to avoid copyright issues with Ferrari. But Ferrari never sold a convertible version of the Testarossa, so I am here today to tell Sega that you probably could have just changed the badge and you'd have been fine. Made yourself a whole bunch of extra work there. Yu Suzuki's Outrun is a legendary Sega title that has rightly earned its legacy as one of the company's most iconic games. This 1986 superscalar arcade driving game puts you in the seat of a Ferrari Testarossa, and you take it across 5 stages with branching paths made to simulate a road trip across Europe. The game is not a traditional racing game where you try to beat other drivers to the finish line. Instead, it puts the focus on the clock, giving you a limited amount of time to make it through each stage, and the quicker you make it, the more bonus time you are awarded going into the next stage. Where the game implements its challenge is through course design and traffic. Courses get progressively more intricate and involved, and you have to weave in and out of heavy traffic while also being aware of upcoming turns. It's a brutally difficult game that requires heavy use of braking to make it through the courses unscathed, and you will need to replay it multiple times to learn the course layouts in order to be in with a chance of seeing one of the 5 endings. Outrun is a beautiful mix of punishing course design, intricate controls, gorgeous visuals, and 3 of the best in-game songs ever made for a driving game that add a wonderful dreamy, relaxed quality to the overall experience. As a result, home ports of Outrun were an extremely desirable concept, and for 5 years a myriad of 8-bit console and home computer ports came and went and did their very best to emulate an Outrun experience, but couldn't really reach the lofty heights of a perfect arcade port. The Mega Drive port arrived in 1991, and while it has some obvious cutbacks, it is very clearly the best version of Outrun you could buy for a home console at the time. And it continued to be the best version of Outrun you could play at home for about 5 years, until it was superseded by the Saturn's Sega Ages port in 1996. And that's the context you have to look at Mega Drive Outrun in. It's not the best port of Outrun anymore, but for a good amount of time it absolutely was. The Mega Drive cannot achieve arcade quality sprite scaling, but it does a damn fine job of throwing around a lot of vehicles and trackside objects to create a similar level of visual density to its arcade counterpart. Because of the limitations of the Mega Drive sound chip, the game chooses to ditch the engine noise so they can render the in-game music with as much accuracy as possible, and quite frankly, Outrun's soundtrack is a lot more important than Outrun's engine noise. We get multiple difficulty options to allow players to work their way towards arcade level difficulty, and seasoned players get to test their skills further with higher difficulties. We get a brand new song to choose on the radio called Step on Beat, which effortlessly slots into the existing Outrun canon of songs and is a great addition to the overall package. Sadly, performance does take a bit of a hit. The frame rate is halved from the 60 FPS arcade original, and certain sections like this one with a lot of dense cloud look quite choppy as a result. It still plays pretty well despite this, but purists will notice it doesn't feel as responsive. The colour replication is also a little off, with the game being noticeably darker than its arcade version. There are some great ROM hacks out there that look to correct this if you're interested, and have the means to play them. Mega Drive Outrun is certainly a worthy addition to any Mega Drive collection, but it's a hard game to go back to nowadays because we have so many better ways to play Outrun now. It ruled the roost from 1991 to 1996, and you can certainly see how good it was when you compare it to the ports that came before it, but revisiting it nowadays is more of an historical exploration instead of the optimal way to play this Sega classic.
Checkpoint!